Thank you guys for joining this call. And this is kind of a special call. Two of us tag team me and Michelle on at the same time. And the reason being is we know coronavirus is creating a certain amount of anxiety for people. And we want to address a lot of those concerns on this call. And my wish, our wish, is that you leave this call feeling a hell of a lot more upbeat and positive, and with an understanding that you have a lot more control potentially than you think you have, particularly in how you respond to your feelings about coronavirus, how you respond to any anxiety that might be coming up for you, but also control in kind of a practical way. And we're going to talk a little bit as well about how you can manage your new routine, which I think everyone's routine is probably going to change if it already hasn't changed. For us here in Ireland, we are now in a type of lockdown where there's no schools, no colleges. People are staying at home mostly, or being asked to work from home. And that happened very quickly. And my impression is that that will probably happen across the States in the near future, and definitely in the UK. Michelle, do you want to describe what it's like for you at the moment and how you guys are coping?
Yeah, it's sort of state by state right now. And I'm in New York. I'm right on in the border of the county that that has the National Guard there. But schools are closing. What's closed? All the major sports teams have closed. I think Disney is closing as of today. Schools are closing for 2 weeks, up to a month. Yeah, and it's happening quickly, and it's kind of, if you go online every few hours, you find out something else is happening. The stores are getting emptied. Everybody's got toilet paper to last them the rest of their lives. Yeah, people
Yeah,
are in like survival mode right now.
absolutely. Yeah. So, the way I kind of see this thing is I want to try and focus on the opportunities in it. And I kind of think of this a bit like a retreat for all of us, for all of humanity in a way. This is this big retreat where we're going to actually have a bit of time, the time that we've always complaining that we never have, and suddenly we're going to have a hell of a lot of it. And how are we going to manage with that excessive amount of time? And how is our routine going to change? But I think there's great opportunity for people to kind of pull back a little bit, take stock, spend time with friends and family, kind of build those networks, maybe the community, the local community. I think there's definitely good opportunities in this, and that's what we're going to try and focus on in this call. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the mental, emotional side of responding to heightened anxiety about coronavirus. So maybe the first thing we'll just start talking about the practical stuff, will we, Michelle? And I think probably for me personally, and the most important thing people can do right now, and this I believe will have the biggest impact on your anxiety levels, is reducing the amount of media that you consume. So cutting out, the news channels, the social media. And I know how hard it is. I personally am quite addicted at the moment to the news stories, the news stream. Even this morning I said, okay, I'm not going to check it until, let's say, 12 o'clock. And I couldn't. I was 11 o'clock and I was on a news site and I was clickbaited into another story and I went down the rabbit hole. It's really, really hard not to. But in the last 48 hours, I did notice a difference when I took breaks from it, and how mentally I kind of felt like, yeah, actually, the sun is still shining, the sky is still blue, the sky has not fallen. But it's every time you go back online, it feels that way. And that's when it can feel overwhelming. So if you are feeling a sense of overwhelm, dramatically cut out the amount of media that you're consuming. And I would try and get it down to 20 minutes a day going forward. So you can check it in the morning and then maybe check it at dinner time, but that would be about it. And that includes social media as well, because the problem with social media is that there's a lot of misinformation out there and there's a lot of doomsdayers. And I think, go to sources of information you trust, find out what's going on, and then leave it there and turn it off. I think that will make a massive difference, could reduce, even up to 50% of this sense of overwhelm by doing that. Just takes a bit of discipline. What would you think of that, Michelle, cutting out all of that?
Yeah, that's on my list. We tend to look through the news. I don't know why. It's almost for reassurance, but the articles we open the most are the ones that are the scariest, right? So it's almost like we're trying to feel better, but let's open every worst case news story. And then it's trying to figure out, like, am I actually getting my news from memes on Facebook? Like, is this even realistic, like what I'm reading? Or is this from like the World Health Organization? And it's easy. I'm doing it too. Scroll, 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 scroll. Corona, 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 corona. Funny jokes about corona, scary things about corona. People arguing about the virus. And it's just, this is where like you would use engage. You look through information, you get the news, and then you log off, and then you engage back in life. All we're engaging right now is like possibilities, news from everywhere in the world. And if you're looking at everywhere in the world right now, you're only dealing with right now. Check the news, log off, engage, go live your life. And I put that same thing on the news, coronavirus, but we talk about that all the time. Even us, even the DARE pages, like our whole goal is to say like, pay attention, accept and allow how you feel, and then get back into life. So check the news. There's not much you're going to be able to do about 99% of that news. There's either milk or there's no milk. So read the news, see what's there. It gets a nod, it gets acknowledged, and then it gets turned off. And then you get to choose what you do. Can't, choose what you're doing based on the news. You can choose what you do at, see the news and then back into life. So that's really the importance of it. Otherwise, you're perseverating on what's going on, and you find the next worst story and the next worst story. And, logging off, unplugging a little bit, kind of keeps you in the present, keeps you what you do have control over.
Yeah, totally. And I think when you're having conversations with people as well, try and kind of limit the amount you're talking about coronavirus. I know it's on everybody's mind, but don't make it the sole topic of conversation, particularly at dinner time around your kids and everything else. Bring that normality back into everything, kind of the day-to-day, what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. Just a sense of normality as well, because when everything gets skewed one way, it's no wonder that our nervous systems get so revved up all the time, because it does feel like being in fight or flight all the time. That sense of threat or danger. The other thing that I would encourage people to focus on is ensuring that people are looking after their well-being. So by that, I mean, there's a great opportunity now as well to think about the way you're eating, because I think we're going to be doing a bit more home cooking, home baking, all that kind of stuff. And also time to get out in nature. So time spent exercising in nature. We're kind of stuck between two things. We're kind of indoors or we're going to be outside. We're not going to be gathering in large groups anyway. So these are wonderful opportunities to, even if it's just out in the garden, making sure you're getting out every day, getting fresh air, or else going further afield with family, going for a walk, going for a hike, all that kind of stuff. I think in the next week or two, you'll probably see a lot more of these outdoor kind of boot camps happening as well. So communities getting together and deciding to exercise outside, stuff like that, just to break up maybe the monotony of spending a lot of time indoors or at home. So kind of look for those opportunities. I think that would be really helpful. Because spending time away from social media, away from the news, and in nature, outdoors, just normalizes everything and helps you to feel more grounded. And you've also got to look after yourself, be kind to yourself during this period, and make sure that you set aside time for yourself, which I know is going to be really challenging, particularly if you've got young kids. But it's that old saying, if you're not there for yourself, you can't be as present for other people. So you need that time for whatever your time out is currently, whether that's the exercise or meditation, or just being alone in a room and having that headspace to yourself. That's so important, because it'll help you to feel less stressed out. And our goal is to get you guys to be the rocks for other people. So me and Michelle were kind of having a laugh about this earlier, is that we've all kind of been in training for this for a long time, haven't we, Michelle?
Yeah, we've been training for this our whole lives. We've been coming up with worst case scenarios for 40 years, right? Like, this is our time to shine. It's just like our alarms are up, but it's acknowledging that people, for the very first time, their alarms are going up. We are pros at this. We are experts at this. Oh, it's just my alarm is up again, because there really is something going on. But now everything that you've learned through DARE is learning how to just not fight yourself. It is okay to feel anxiety. Feeling anxiety doesn't mean you have an anxiety disorder. We just get stuck when we fight that feeling, right? So of course our alarms are up. It's called a global pandemic. It's one of those things that kind of get you to ring, you know? So if it's ringing, because we've gotten good at DARE, it's learning how to not fight that ring, learning how to accept discomfort. People, for the first time, their alarms are ringing right now and they don't know what the hell's going on. So, and I see little snippets on Facebook, people saying like, wow, I really did need to get these groceries and I was in the store and I don't do well with large spaces, but I said basically like, oh, this being recorded. Oh, well, trying to rate myself. Oh, well, I'm going to stay here. And the alarm went up and peaked and it came back down, because we just have this energy. It's just a matter of how we use it. So yeah, this is what we've been training to do, people. This is our time to shine.
Absolutely. And it is this opportunity to share what your skill set with other people who you will meet, who will be experiencing, as Michelle says, anxiety kind of for the first time. They'll just be saying, I'm just so on edge all the time. I'm feeling so uneasy. And we'll talk in a moment about that and about the response to that. We'll kind of cover that a bit more. But you do have this opportunity to be a rock for other people, particularly for family members, for children. And when it comes to children, they are watching you. They're looking at your response. So it is important to mirror a response to them of one of kind of control and, we can handle this. But yes, it's okay to feel anxious at the same time, And so there's I don't know, I find it quite an incredible time. This kind of, it feels like a bit of a reset for all of humanity. We're all experiencing this all across the world at the same time. It's very unique. I don't think that ever in history anything has happened in this connected way before, all facing this kind of same challenge, the same threat. And we're learning from each other. Countries are learning from each other as they go in terms of how they treat it. So very interesting. And again, I go back to, let's focus on the positives. And I think the other important piece is community. So if I find when people volunteer and when they step outside their comfort zone in that way, it empowers them even more. So you will find by reaching out to people in your community and saying, hey, can I help? Can I get you shopping? For elderly people in particular. Just acknowledging people, smiling, nodding that bit more. All of that kind of sense of community bonding, I think, will increase over the coming days, which will be great, and a great opportunity for you to be of help, of service to others, which will also help you to feel more empowered and more in control as well. So, I'm quite excited about those parts of community building that will happen over the next couple of weeks as we all get challenged with this idea of spending so much time at home in our communities, not really traveling and going further afield. So it's a lot to get your head around. And I think we're all still kind of processing, how do we deal with this? How is our day going to look like? And Dale Carnegie used to have this saying of living in day-type compartments, meaning that you just focus on this day and then nothing else. So stop what-ifing yourself into the future of, what about my job? What about, 3 weeks from now, 2 months from now? Trying to live in those day-type compartments really helps to just focus on the here and now, like Michelle was saying about engaging in the present moment. So those are my main practical points on the practical side of stuff. Michelle, did you want to cover anything else before we talk about the more mental, emotional side of it?
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about children too. I just keep it simple, say the facts, and just be simple. They just want to know what's going on, and they kind of, can feed off of you. So it's not everything's fine. Say, yeah, I know it's weird, right? They're allowed to feel things, and you're allowed to say, like, I know it's weird. It is a little scary. We tend to, even with anxiety, we talk about this on the calls too. It's don't let them see that we're scared. It's okay. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be like, everything's a little bit weird. And the same thing, nod, acknowledge it. Yeah, sure, I know it's a little weird. Okay, so this got canceled and it's disappointing. You have a lot of disappointed seniors in high school, a lot of disappointed seniors in college. That's been coming up a lot. All your milestones, graduation, like like sports, people that are in their last semester of sports and they don't get to play. It sucks. And it's saying like, yeah, it does suck. I'm really sorry. I don't have to make that feel better, you know, but it is, it's kind of stinks. And then we're going to take it day by day. So, you know, just for that, for children too, that's for older kids and for younger kids. For younger kids, it's, I know it's weird, but the more we stay to ourselves, the less likely, you know, the more quickly everybody will start to get better. And then we go back to what we normally do. So they'll feel disappointed. Like, it's weird. Why can't I go to my soccer game? Why did all my things get canceled? And I mean, I had to go through it, all my kids. So we go from doing a million things to doing absolutely nothing, nothing. But that brings me to the last, like the tangible thing I wanted to say is keep a routine, especially if you're home, especially if you have kids, especially if you have my kids. Again, something that always comes up on Dare. I just wanted to mention that too, because this is not different. I know this crazy stuff going on right now, but we're not going to say anything different on this call than we say on any other calls. It's just this coronavirus is so obviously happening right now. It seems so different. But if we're home, I say this to people who run their own companies, who work from home, who are retired, who stay home and take care of their kids. It's really important to keep some sort of routine, especially if your kids are home for weeks at a time, the schools are closed. It doesn't have to be mapped out minute by minute, but keep to a schedule, stay engaged, choose what you do, because it's time to do this now, rather than doing things based on how you feel. This keeps you out of your head, not for the sake of distracting yourself, but truly just engaging in whatever it is that you are doing. Sometimes people try and if you're home and you really kind of have nothing to do for 10 hours, you start doing things based on how I'm feeling in that moment, right? And then those feelings become so important. So I often suggest the day before, plan what you're doing tomorrow. Even if it's 2 things, 3 things, pick a time, pick what specifically you're going to do, and then you get to engage in that day, something to look forward to. Oh, if I have to go for a drive at 10, I'm going to get up at 9, and then I'll be showered by 9:30, and then I'm going to have breakfast. So it keeps you focused. It keeps you, you know, your brain focused on what you're doing rather than turning inward, which we're very good at, to pay attention to how we're feeling. What are these thoughts? So I just wanted to mention that too, keeping a routine.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I suppose just finishing on that, I'll give people an example of kind of what we're planning in our routine, in our family, just to give you a sense of kind of how we might map it out. Definitely, like you were saying, Michelle, having a plan of what to do the next day, kind of giving everyone kind of a sense of when they get up in the morning, you know, what's ahead that day. So I think we'll have a mix of, we'll obviously be doing homeschooling because the schools have given homework for our daughter to do. So there'll be a bit of that in the morning, and then we're going to go outside. We're going to go at some stage in the day walking. That'll be a key part of most days. And we're not going to be doing stuff together all the time. We'll have time apart. I'll be working from home. My wife will as well. And then we're, you know, I was saying no media, but we're going to be doing like family movies, light stuff that's humorous, comedies. Me, myself, personally, I'll be listening to lots of comedians. I just find it the best kind of, gives me the best sense of perspective on things and helps me to stay positive. So you yourself know the kind of media that keeps you in the right frame of mind, keeps your family in the right frame of mind. So consume that kind of stuff, and, you know, stay off the news. Keep the kids away from the news all the time as well. And maybe just keep a special eye on what kids are watching on the internet over the next while, because a lot of the YouTubers they might be following will be talking about coronavirus. And I bet you there's loads of misinformation popping up there, and they could be getting anxious about it and not saying anything. So worth an eye, keeping an eye on what they are watching as well, on their tablets or laptops or whatever. Alrighty, so now on to the kind of more mental, emotional side of dealing with this. And I'm presuming most of you are feeling a certain level of anxiety about it, maybe high anxiety. But then again, maybe some of you are totally fine, which is great. But for those of you feeling anxious, I think the really important point is it is normal to be anxious about this. And who wouldn't be anxious? Everybody is anxious. So anxiety is the normal reaction to this. And don't mistake it for you being caught up in a setback, or it's an anxiety disorder as such. So having that anxious response to it is to be expected. And particularly over the next coming weeks, expect that anxiety to be there. I think we're only kind of in the beginning phase of this. I think, let's say 2 weeks out from now, the frustration will really kick in, the annoyance with the government for not acting quickly enough, and all these kind of anger, frustration, and fear will probably ramp up over the next 2 weeks. And I think that's why, again, it's more important to be disconnected from the media so that you yourself can stay grounded and keep that positive kind of frame of mind. But everyone else's anxiety around you is going to increase as well over the coming weeks, I imagine. And being mindful of that is very, very important. It goes back to looking after yourself so that you can be there for other people as well during that period. So I think it's so important to bear that in mind, that this is an anxious, uncertain, overwhelming type of transition that we're all moving through. But there's also a bit of solace in the fact that we're all going through it together. Everybody's experiencing this all around the world at the same time. So nobody's alone in it. And I don't think anyone on this call should feel that their anxiety is any different than what the average person is experiencing in regards to this. I think that's kind of important to bear in mind. Michelle, any comment on that bit?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's, to me, all of this is one giant what if. You know, those are our favorite sentences when it comes to us, right? It's all about the what ifs, and it feels so out of control. And I don't think I'm putting any new ideas in your heads. It's what if I get sick? What if my family gets sick? What if we're stuck home for 3 months? What if I can't leave my house, right? What if I run out of, I know, oh, that's right, I know nobody can talk, but right? Everybody's thinking these things, I'm guessing. Are these a normal thing, right? What if I run out of food? What if I lose my investments? What if my anxiety gets worse and I'm back to square one? I don't care about the coronavirus. What about me, right? What about my anxiety? I've been out, I've been practicing, and now they say I can't go out. What if I go backwards, right? Anybody having any of those, anything similar to those thoughts? Hands up. Yep. No. Everybody else is cool. Great. Oh, yep. There you go. So remember what the what ifs are. This is just what ifs related to the coronavirus, but it's all the same thing. What ifs are just ideas of danger, thoughts of future situations. They aren't happening right now. I know there's a lot going on right now, but right this very second, you're having an idea of something, right? They get a nod, they get acknowledged. Anxiety does not live there. But in the fight of those thoughts, doesn't mean we like the content of the thoughts. You don't like those ideas, right? But it's about not fighting them. Yes, they could happen. Anything could happen, but they aren't happening right now. So right this very second, pay attention to them. When they come up, say, okay, but right this very second, I'm having a thought that I don't like. And that gets acknowledged. And then we refocus back to the present. You know, focus on what is in your control. And if it's not in your control, it gets a nod, and then you come back to the present. Anxiety loves the past and it loves the future, especially with this, loves the future. We're going all the way into the world of the what ifs. Say, yes, you're right. That could happen. It could, but right now I'm just having a thought I don't like. But right now, what I can do, what can I do? What am I in control of right now? I am uncomfortable right now. Why? Because I'm sitting in this hard folding chair. I am sitting in this hard folding chair, and it is uncomfortable. So I can get up and sit somewhere else, but I can't go and get a thought out of my head. I can't control some virus that's spreading around, but I can bake dessert for tonight. I can do something else. That's why I was talking about engaging. It's so important to allow thoughts, allow sensations, and engage back in your life. It keeps yourself back into the present. So just wanted to mention that as well. I know it's just pay attention. All those what ifs, they're going to take center stage right now because it's uncertain, like we feel out of control, we feel vulnerable. Those are all places like that anxiety loves. We fight those feelings. Our alarm helps us fight. So really practice, pay attention to those what ifs. Pay attention to the black and white thinking. All or nothing. We get stuck in that too. That's definitely going to come up if it hasn't already. Everything is fine, or it's the end of the world, right? Shades of gray. Respond to all those what ifs with shades of gray. You aren't trapped in your home. Nobody has nailed your door closed, I don't think. Or again, don't call us, call somebody else, call the police. Somebody's nailed you into your home, right? You're not trapped. You might feel stuck, but pay attention to how you're talking to yourself. You can go out, you can go in your yard, you can go in your front door. So really work in shades of gray. What else? What else did I want to mention? Oh, and trying to do things to feel better. That was a lot of things that came up on the Facebook pages. Well, how do I get that fight or flight response to not ring? How do I shut it down? Or, but there really is something happening right now, right? Like, what should I do that's different? Nothing. You don't have to do anything different. You're allowed to not like how you feel. You don't have to like it, but we get stuck when we fight it. So that's where you practice allowing, accepting, acknowledging, yeah, it's okay that I feel scared. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel frustrated. We're trying to do all the things to feel better. So just keep that in mind too. Just really pay attention to not just what you're thinking, but how you're thinking about it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Michelle. And I want everyone to feel empowered that you have a skill set now that is going to be so valuable for other people in the coming weeks and maybe months. Because without a doubt, you're going to bump into people, you're going to have family members who are feeling highly anxious, and yet you'll have a way or a skill set to share with them. You'll have tips to share with them. So I think that's really empowering. It's not, it takes the focus off of you, because with anxiety, you can tend to turn inward all the time thinking, how am I responding to this? How am I going to cope with this? Whereas if you put the focus externally, being there for other people, even as I said, the people in the community, it's so much more empowering a position for you to be in, because you shift out of being the victim of this whole scenario to being the potential role model or hero for somebody else who is struggling. So I think that's really important to bear in mind over the next coming while. So what I'd like to do now is take people's questions, and me and Michelle will answer questions that you have. And maybe the best way of doing this is if people have a question, they could raise their hand. And
I have one more. I wanted to mention, and then it's probably going to make everybody mad, but bear with me. My last one, and just pay attention to not just you, but everybody else around you. Stop complaining. Not to me, I mean, just stop complaining. That's a bitter pill to swallow. It usually comes with somebody responding with like raised eyebrows and you don't know me, or how dare she say that? Like, how could she say something like that? She's a therapist, right? But seriously, stop complaining, because complaining is really just perseverating on things that are not in your control. That's really all that does. It's, oh my gosh, would you look at this? Oh, here we go again. It's all it really does. It just remind yourself just how much you really don't like what's happening right now, over and over and over again. So for your own sake, the more you focus on it, the more your alarm helps you fight it. Acknowledge it, give it a nod. Remember, is this something you can change, right? Oh, I can complain about sitting on the seat all day long, or I can get up and do something about it. If it's something I can't do something about right now, I'm going to say, yep, that's right. I can't do anything about that right now. And then again, refocus on what you can do. Engage back in life. I know that stop complaining. I cringe when I say it, but take that with a grain of salt as you go about your day, as you have conversations with people. You'll see there is a lot of complaining, and it's just perseverating on things that are not in your control. So just wanted to add that too, now that I've pissed everybody off.
So if anyone's any questions, raise your hand and we'll unmute you so you can chat. We've got a lot of people on the call. I think if I unmute all the lines, it might be too noisy. This is all new territory for us, so we're kind of learning as we go here. But I think, I don't know, it's the way I personally approach it. Is the world always has been dangerous. There are always risks, but we have control in how we can respond to those. And this is where using an approach like DARE comes in, is because we cannot let our anxiety run riot, or else it'll just make us really unhappy and make us feel like the victim of all of this. You know, we do have control here. So that's an important piece to remember.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, remember, if you're reassuring, it's nice to get reassurance to say, oh yeah, I'll probably be fine. Like, I'm young, I'm pretty healthy, and yeah, so my daughter's young, and yeah, it's fine. But if you're trying to reassure your alarm system, that's where we get stuck. So reassurance, like, I can reassure you all day long that, like, yeah, everybody on the call is most likely going to be fine. But your alarm doesn't give a shit about that, right? It's like, oh my gosh, but what if? Oh, but what if? But what if? But what if? But what if you're not? But what if you can't breathe? I don't want to not breathe. I don't mind the flu, but I don't want that, right? It's just, you're trying to reassure yourself to shut this up. That's resistance. So that's why, like, it's all the same approach. Coronavirus is no different than the idea of any other sickness you might get, any other person that might call in with a different health anxiety. Like I said, it's a messed up game of Mad Libs. Replace it with anything else. Fill in the blank with, what if blank? The answer is, yeah, yep, that would suck, right? Your alarm is shining the light on a particular situation, and you get to say, oh yeah, you're right, I don't like that idea. I never have to like that idea, whatever it is, right? I never have to like it. But right now, it's not happening. Yes, it's happening around me. Yes, my alarm is rising because something is going on around me. So all of our alarms, all however many billion people of us are in the world, unless you're living under a rock, everybody's kind of like this. Everybody's kind of like this. We're just used to ours going up a lot more often than other people. So now we think this is a problem. It's not. It's doing its job. So of course you don't want to get sick. Replace that with what anybody else, who's here for, like, trying to get coronavirus. Got like a Groupon for it, and I was like, oh, I might as well try this because I got nothing else going on. No, it sucks. Nobody wants to get sick. Nobody wants to be short of breath. Who likes that one? Nobody likes that one. But it's like, and I know one of your other questions was like, how can I be happy in all of this, right? You don't have to be happy. You don't have to be happy yesterday. You can go live your life. You can go engage. But if you're focused on, like, we're all going to die, we're all going to die, we're all going to die, you're not going to be happy, but, like, you get your news, turn off your news, you see what's going on, you engage in your life. If you happen to laugh, then you're happy right now, right? If you see a sad story about a dog in a shelter for 7 years and has a cute little sign that makes everybody cry, you're sad right now. How you feel is how you feel right now. So just keep coming back to the present. Engage in life, right? And if the what ifs come up, they get a nod. Yep, that's right. If I get sick, I will deal with it then. And I will also work in shades of gray. It's not if I get sick, and of course I'm going to die some terrible, awful way. It's, yeah, I might get sick, and I'll probably stay in bed for 3 weeks. 3 days. I'll probably stay, have some extra tea. I'll probably get a blanket. Shades of gray, shades of gray. Keep working in responses of that too. True. It's so true. People are now their alarms are up, but they don't know what to do about it. You all got this nice shiny little toolbox full of DARE tools. Accept, allow, diffuse, run towards, engage, right? Nobody knows any of that stuff yet. And what's nice is that it shows just how we all are the same, right? You see people on this call from all around the world. And we're on this call because we just notice our alarm just fluctuates a little more than other people's. So now other people's are getting amped up and nobody knows what to do. We know what to do. We're just very aware of that fluctuation. Our alarm is a self-regulating system, right? It goes up, something brings it, but then it brings itself back down. DARE basically just teaches you how to get out of your own way and do nothing. Of course, your alarm is up. It will come down when it's time to come down. So it's up again. That's okay too. So other people don't know that yet. I talk to people that live in China, right? They're come on calls, right? They live in China. This is another thing I wanted to mention too. Some people are maybe not so concerned about the coronavirus itself, but now their alarm's up and now they're kind of like, same thing as Barry was saying, turn inward again. Oh yeah, the coronavirus is going on. Oh, but now I'm having more thoughts about some other shit, right? Oh, so there was a little girl on this call. Is she still there? Okay, no, Aaron, is that, okay, she's gone? Sorry. But same thing, like, so our alarms are up because of what's going on, and it just hooks into other things. Oh, there's my stomach. Oh, my neck. Oh, this, right? Well, just find something else. It's the same thing. It's not what it hooks onto. It's the fight of it. It's just finding something, because there's no danger right now. Again, if somebody turned on their screen and you were on fire, calling the wrong person. You're not going to talk about how you feel because you're on fire. You're going to be taking all that energy dealing with the fire. But there's nothing for any of us to deal with right this very second other than plan, not control, be prepared, right? Engage and continue about your routine. And help everybody else who's freaking out.
Hey, Barry, how are you?
Good to see
Hi,
you.
Patrick.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Very good. Yeah, I'm doing really well. And yeah, I too, it's interesting. I do have a lot of empathy for people who are struggling with this. And, their pain is real. And we all know, right? We all know the pain of the adrenaline rush and the thought of being in the middle of the anxiety loop. And so I do have a lot of empathy for that, for sure. And so, but having said that, what a wonderful gift, because we have learned so much. And it is always about, embracing the suck and doing what's the next thing I can do that can contribute in a positive way, that can contribute, not denying. I always love when everyone says it's not about denying the pain. It's not about denying the discomfort. It's really just about, what's the next thing I can do, and what's next to respond in a way while I'm feeling the discomfort that can make a contribution toward the good. And I am very much concentrating, Barry, on what I can contribute back to people who are struggling with this, that I can help them through everything that I've learned with DARE, to help them maybe learn some things about, what a great gift that some people may get from this around, man, I got some tools about handling panic and anxiety that I never would have had access to had this not happened, and had I not been in contact with people who do have anxiety disorders and who are making a big difference in their lives with the tools that they've garnished from programs such as DARE. That, I guess this is just where I come from. If I can help one person as a result of this virus who never would have had access to the kind of tools that we've been gifted with to learn and to practice and execute, and become the automatic new responses about how we deal with such a normal thing as anxiety, that's what I choose to focus on. And that's what I choose to think about when tragedy occurs, because it is everything that we have trained for. And God, man, how awesome is that? I mean, just how friggin' awesome is that? And so, you know what? Here's my plan. I have a lot of unfinished things around the house that I'm going to be working on, and enjoying doing, that I probably would have never done if I didn't have all this free time. And I do plan on going out in nature, and I do plan on being in contact with small groups of people who have reached out to me with help with this, and all of those things that I'm going to choose to engage with, while I myself will feel some discomfort, some anxiety, some uncertainty, and all of those things. And that's okay. That's normal. It's so normal. And so life is good, Barry. I'm excited. And each day is an opportunity to, just, I can't express enough how just courageous we all are, how special we all are, how much I love people who have this kind of compassion, empathy, and kindness that the gift of anxiety has given us. and that we have the ability to make a decision, to share that with others, and to shine in tragedy and hardship and pain and discomfort, because we've learned the tools in which to do it in a way that is helpful, positive, energetic, enthusiastic, and we can do it all even in the suck.
Well said, well said. Drop the mic, Patrick. Boom.
You've got a good word, Patrick. Choose. You know, like you acknowledge, yes, this is what's going on. Yes, this sucks. Yes, this sucks. Yes, this sucks. Now what? Okay, yeah, I see all that. Now what? Right? And we'll talk about this, things like this on the calls, right? Acknowledge it. Yep, there's that thing. Yep, there's that thing. Okay. Now what? I've acknowledged. Now I choose what I do.
I share a quick story, if I may, real quick story.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in Chicago with a doctor, with my brother Kevin, who has stage 4 lung cancer, and he was taking an oral medication that was working to slow down the growth of the cancer, and he started getting more sick. And I met him in Chicago, and we met this specialist. He had tests done, and the doctor came in and said, Kev, I have really not good news for you. The medication doesn't seem to be working anymore, and the cancer has grown. And, you know, he had 2 young kids, you know, a vibrant life to live for, a joy for life. And I remember being just so angry sitting there, and I screamed out that this sucks. I'm so angry. Why does this have to happen to you, Kevin? Why does this have to happen to us? And so on and so forth. And I'll never forget it. My brother Kevin said to me, Patrick, stop it. Stop it. Yes, I want to live. And I'm very sad right now. And I'm very angry right now. And I feel a lot of pain right now. But all I have is what's next. That's all I can concentrate on. That's all I want to concentrate on. Okay, this medication isn't working. So doctor, what's next? What's the next thing? What's the next thing I can contribute to try to get better, to try to bring something to this that gives me some hope, some strength, some promise. And I'm sitting there watching my brother who's dying in this frame of mind of in a situation that couldn't suck any more than that, I don't think. Yet here he was focused on engaging in what's next. Okay, this sucks to all heaven, but what's next? Patrick, that's what I need you to help me with. That's the energy I need you to bring into this room right now. Help me get focused on what's next. Okay, this sucks. What's next? Great lesson.
Yeah, really good. And actually, it ties in perfectly with a little bit of homework I'd like everyone to do after the call, which is, okay, what's the next thing you can do? I think the next thing you can do is just send a message, WhatsApp, whatever, call somebody and just ask them how they're doing. Just check in with them and say, you know, yeah, it's a weird time we're living in. How are you keeping? Anything you need? Just reach out to one person. Because again, it takes the focus off you and shows that you're thinking outside of yourself. You haven't turned inward. You're thinking about people around you. And I think it'll help them. It'll help you. So have a think about that after the call, who you could send a message to, just that one, even a few lines, just saying, yeah, I've been thinking about you during this time. You might get into a conversation with them, you might not, but it's a small step. It's like, as you were saying, Patrick, what's next? What's the next step from here? And living in those daytime compartments, focusing on now, and the next step after that. It's great. Well, we are coming up to the hour. Michelle, any final points?
Well, first of all, this is the quickest call I've ever been on.
That's because I'm a good timekeeper.
What? You're on your calls an hour?
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. Guys always hear me say the same sort of thing. So even though it's coronavirus and nobody knew what the hell that meant 6 months ago, she's back. Sorry, I said same bad word. Aaron, where do you keep getting all these children from? You keep pulling out kids like every 5 minutes. There's a new kid. But it's stay in the present, stay in the moment. Notice the thoughts. What is it? Is it a what if? You want to get sucked into the content of that thought? You want to open that book and read all the pages? Go right ahead. You're not going to like the story. You can zoom out and take a look at that book, say, oh, I don't really want to read that book. Sure, that's an idea, that's a story. Back to the present. It's just, we talk like this anyway, but it's just related to this virus that's going on. Uncertainty. Yeah, that's right. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's right. I feel X, Y, and Z. I can feel scared. I don't have to feel these. I don't have to judge myself if I do feel good. It's okay to feel whatever I feel right now. I'm going to stay in the moment. I'm going to engage. I don't need to get sucked into the media. I don't need to get sucked into my head. I don't need to turn it all inward towards myself. I can just, I can choose what I do. I can't choose how I feel. I can choose what I do with feelings, with however it is that I feel. So, it's all the basics of DARE. I don't think anybody's heard either of us say anything different than what we always say. But we kind of wanted to do this to streamline it towards this. It feels so different, but something really is happening. Yes, something really is happening around us that's raising our alarm. And our job is to just let our alarms be raised. Just let our bodies do whatever it is that it's doing. And then we get to choose what we do. So those are my little tidbits. Did I miss anything? I don't think so.
No, it's great. And then the points, just to recap what I was saying earlier, is emphasizing those points of dramatically cutting down on the media you're consuming, the amount of social media, the amount of news you're watching. That'll make a massive impact if you got it down to even 20 minutes a day. Focus on your well-being, taking that time out, look after yourself during this period. It's really important to take that time out because you want to be there for other people. And the third piece being the community piece. Don't focus inward so much, look outside of yourself because there's a lot of people who need help right now. And as we said, this is what you train for. You've got the tools. So this could be a period of time where it's not about you and your anxiety. It's about them and their anxiety. It's about your family. It's about your community. And the more you can share and support other people, the more empowered you will feel within your own mind and body. So weird but interesting times. The Chinese have that phrase, may you live in interesting times. These are definitely interesting times. They're going to be challenging times. I kind of think it's only just beginning. We're only at the start of it, but I think we'll all do great. We've got to stay together as a community. We're going to be doing more stuff like this and sending out more messages to help people during this period. And share the resources as well that we're putting out. The DARE book is free all this weekend. Share the link with them for anyone who you think is anxious. That could be a good way to, with that message, maybe reaching out to somebody. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Michelle, being my tag team partner on the call.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Bye-bye.
And everyone stay safe, look after yourself and keep in touch, okay?
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.